So I had a bad day at work the other day, and I thought I would just share what went wrong so that you can try and learn from my mistakes, because that's the whole point of this, right? And it's quite a hard video to make, right? Because essentially when you're creating YouTube content to try and teach people how to do things, you don't want to admit when things go wrong in a way. So there's going to be a bit of a different type of video. So here's the deal. I went into work at a venue that I usually work at. It's like a huge sort of, they call them culture houses here in Norway, like a multi-room space with lots of events happening in different rooms. And the deal is there was a small concert with, bass, drums, piano, and some strings and some vocals, a ukulele. Going to be using a bunch of like DPA, clip-on mics on the instruments, along with some DIs and 4 vocal mics, monitoring and stuff. And so the nature of this space is that the equipment is not sitting there ready in the same way, right? You've got to wheel the mixer out and then you connect it up to a network point on the wall. And then there's a patch panel in the cupboard and you patch that network point into the stage box. So the formula is go in, connect mixer up, blast some pink noise to the PA, make sure that the PA works, have a great show, right? The difference today was that I had to rig up another PA because they were going to be playing at a place on the floor, which meant that the main PA would be behind them. So I was going to rig up a new PA, shove the subs forward, a couple of tops on sticks, voila. So I did that. I connected up the PA into the points, the speak-on points in the ceiling, which went into a patch panel in the back room. And then I patched into the point, which is for the ground stacked PA. And didn't get any sound, right? I blasted some pink noise and I got no sound. I thought, oh, this is interesting. So I started problem solving, as you do. And I double checked on the mixer to see that I was connected to the stage box, right? Mixer says, yep, I'm connected fine. And I thought, okay, but maybe something weird's going on. So double check the stage box. It's a DL251 with a Midas M32. So you've got to be aware of some things like sample rate needs to be 48 kilohertz because the M32 doesn't go up to 96. And we run the desk as the master clock source. So you need to make sure the clock source is correct. So I double check all these settings, right? And then I connect my phone up to the stage box. And I play some music. I run back to the mixer and I check and I'm getting the sound in the mixer. And I'm like, right, this is super weird. So I'm connected to the mixer, I'm getting sound in and it's not coming out of the PA. So why would that be? So then I head down and I think maybe it's the ground stacked PA that's the problem. So I switch over to the flow-in PA in the ceiling. Still no sound. Right, this is getting really weird. What's going on here? So then I grab some microphones, right? And we've got a little, how to describe it? There's a panel which allows you to sort of enable this self-steered, self-driven, what do you call it? Like it allows clients to use simple wireless microphones themselves, right? So you press a button, it bypasses the mixer and you can just turn on a wireless microphone and speak into it. So that's what I did. Grabbed the microphone, turned it on to conference mode and bypassed the mixer. Spoken to the microphone. Still no sound coming out of the ground stacked PA. What's going on here? But there's sound coming out of the delay speakers further down the room. Interesting. So then I go back and I change the patch, right? The speak-on patch, which is taking the signal from the amplifiers to the PA. And I switch it back to the flow-in PA, the one on the roof, the usual one. And now the microphone is working. So I'm like, okay, this is some weird stuff. What is going on here? And of course, the clock is ticking, right? You never have a lot of time in these things, so it's just going and going. So I know that the signal into the amplifiers is fine in some way, right? But that doesn't explain why my ground stack PA isn't working. So I go in now and I get my phone, I just connect it up to the inputs into the amplifier, just phone going straight into the amplifier, and I switch between the ground stacked PA and the flow-in PA. And I find out that when I connect the speak-on cables up to the ground stacked PA using the patch panel, I get no sound. And when I connect them up to the flow-in PA, I get sound in both the flow-in PA and the ground stacked, right? So we got some kind of patching problem in the actual patching panel, right? So that totally threw me for one. Time is running on. And I'm like, all right, cool, that must be it. So now the PA is working okay. fantastic. I take my phone out, connect everything back up, go back to the mixer, and I turn it up, and there's still no sound. I'm like, right, this is some crazy stuff here. What's going on? Mixer knows it's connected up. I know the PA is working. So now I know that somehow the sound is not coming from the mixer and going into the PA. So this is where we get even funkier, right? I grab a couple of XLR cables and I go directly out of the back of the mixer into a wall box point, and then using the patch panel straight into the amplifier. Now I have sound. I'm like, okay. So the outputs on the back of the mixer are working, but the outputs on the stage box are not working. But the inputs on the stage box are working. And that makes no sense. So then I go down and I pull the rack out, right? And I'm going in behind the rack now. And I look and I see that all of the outputs on the back of the DL251 box are lit up red, right? Which usually means that they are muted. I'm like, right, so what is this? Does that mean that the mixer is unable to tell the stage box to unmute the outputs? I'm like, right, Christ, what's going on here? And the thing with DL251 is it has multiple AES inputs, right? Because you use them with Pro Series consoles, you can have loads and loads of inputs. But the M32 has only got 32, so you just use one cable. So I went up and I just switched the AES 50 cable from going into port 1 on the back of the DL251 into port 2. And I go up and I double check it. And now I've got sound coming in and I've got sound coming out. And I'm like, hallelujah, good times. I now have a PA and I have my mixer. I've got output. I can get my monitors up and running. This is good. So I've spent like quite a long time at this point, like troubleshooting all of these problems. So I'm running down to the storeroom to get all of the equipment, right? Because I need to bring up monitors, I need to bring up mic stands, I need to bring up microphones, I need to bring up cables, I need to bring up power, you know, going on and on. And then I'm packing this all onto a trolley down in the storage room. And we've got a little security system. I can see that the artist has arrived in the room. I'm like, right, okay. This right, I can do this. So I get the stuff back up to the room, say to the artist, hey, I had a bit of technical troubles here. It's all good. I'm a little bit behind, but we should be on track to get a nice sound check done. So run about like a headless chicken, as they say, and get everything wired up and connected. And then I say to the artist, right, looks like we're just about ready to start sound check. Only like 10 minutes behind schedule. This is good. This is some problem solving. And then I go to gain up my first channel and I notice that I don't have gain control. I have signal coming in to the mixer from the stage box, but on the M32 it's showing the trim control, not the gain control. And I just think, right, who has been playing with this stuff, man? Like, why, what's going on? Someone been using this for a monitor console with like gate, like, you know, channel splits and stuff. So I thought, okay, right, let's go check that out. So I'm in the depths of the M32 console, and I find out that I don't have the trim control enabled. I should have head amp control, preamp control on the stage box, but I don't. I check and I have preamp control on the inputs on the back of the mixer, but none of the stage box inputs. So I have input and output, but no gain control. I'm like, what on earth is going on here? So then I switch the AES cable back to AES1, and I have gain control, but I don't have output. And I'm like, what is this hell that I am living through? And now sound check is really ticking. You know, I've got the whole band on stage. We're trying to do a sound check. Everyone's, you know, looking at their watches. Doors are approaching. I'm getting stressed. So I'm like, shit, is it the mixer? You know, because like, it's weird that the mixer isn't able to communicate with the stage box. So I grab another M32 from the storage and it's freaking out as well. So I'm like, right, it's not the mixer. So I grab another stage box and just chuck it beside the mixer and connect it up. And I noticed that that stage box is all gravy. Like everything's good, everything's working in that stage box. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? And I was so lucky to have a colleague that I could phone who was just around the corner and who came in because my brain was exploding. I was like, I can't think of it anymore. You know, I've done it all. I've switched the mixers. I've, you know, checked everything. I switched the cables. Couldn't be a bad cat cable. Couldn't be XLRs. And so my colleague came in and we chatted a bit about it. And then he went back and forth. We tried a couple of things. I explained the situation to him. And eventually, he turned the stage box off and on again. and it fixed it. And so obviously all I can think after that happens is, why is that not the first thing that I tried? Why didn't I just turn everything off and on again? I had turned everything else off and on again. Amplifiers, I had turned the mixer on and off again, but for some reason I had not thought to turn the stage box on and off again. Now, maybe that's fair enough. It's pretty unusual for that to happen. It has never happened to me before. And in fairness, the stage box is bolted into a rack and it's no easy feat to get in there and turn it off and on. It's not designed to be accessed. But long story short, the show went on. It was a great show. Band played really well. Audience were very happy. Everyone was very happy. But holy shit, it was so stressful. And even though everything was fine in the end, I left the show thinking, man, do I even know what I'm doing? Like, why didn't I turn that off and on again? And I suppose, if I'm being realistic, I would say that there are so many things that went wrong. And it could have been so many things. And you've got to try all of them. And you need to start somewhere and get to the other side. At the end of the day, I would have probably put a new stage box in there. And the gig would have happened anyway. It would have been solved. But I suppose all I'm trying to do is show that everyone has bad days. And I think there comes a sort of internal expectation to live up to the image that you build yourself. And I'm on here telling you guys how to mix shows and how to set stuff up because I know how to do that. That's my job. It's been my job for quite a long time. And I generally speaking feel like I'm quite good at it. But even though all of that is true, I still have bad days where I get stressed, where everything I try doesn't work. And I need to call someone else who knows more than me and say, dude, I am totally stuck here. I have no idea. I've tried everything apart from one thing. So I guess the moral of the story is have someone you can call, because even if it's a really simple fix, once you start getting more and more sort of worked up and stressed about it, you can't see the forest for the trees, right? You might overlook the simplest solution. And it's important to have someone that you can call and say, help. And then they say,
hello, IT, have you tried turning it off and on again?
And that can be the solution. Anyway, it was a bit of a strange format for a video. I just wanted to share it because I thought it might be valuable. Let me know if it was valuable. If you're still watching now, I have no idea. I've been talking for like 20 minutes or something. But yeah, let me know if it's valuable. And if you want me to share more stuff like this, because I do have bad days and maybe it's valuable to share them every now and then. Anyway, have a good one and see you in the next video.